while. Well, all my videos I'm talking, but my couple videos prior to this were vlogs. But anyways, I recently graduated from my university in April of this year, and it is now August. And I put on my Instagram page on my story, just YouTube suggestions or things that you guys wanted to see from me. And one of those suggestions were basically talking about my college experience and advice of that sort. So y'all see me holding this because sometimes I need to kind of stay on track because I can get to yapping. So this is just, I just wrote down like some key points of where I kind of want to focus my video on, and just points that I kind of want to touch base on. So let's start off on why I decided to go to college. In the beginning, you guys, I low-key, I'm just gonna put this down now. Low-key, I was confused, bro. I didn't know what I wanted to do because in high school, I was hooping. That was my thing. I thought I was gonna go to college for hooping. Things didn't work out that way. So I was honestly confused. Mind you, in high school, I was known as someone who was always on honor roll, who never got in trouble, did what I was supposed to do, all-around athlete. That was me. So for me to be in a position to where I did not know what I wanted to do was so scary. Not necessarily for me, but because I knew the expectations my parents had for me, and like my coaches, my teachers, just anybody. That was always in the back of my mind, of their expectations of me. And I let that dictate why I went to college. And fortunately enough for me, I was really close with an individual, and they were deciding to go to the university I attended. And so that made that process less scary for me, just knowing that I had a familiar face with me to go along the journey with. So I ended up going to college, not exactly sure what I wanted to do. I changed my major a lot of times. And I just want to say that if you're going to college and you don't really know what you want to do, that's okay. You have time to figure it out. And you may not even figure it out, because honestly, I don't even know if what I went for was what I wanted to do for real, but I ended up doing it. And with that, I'm learning how I can navigate my life with the degree that I chose. But yeah, I just want to say, it's okay if you don't have it all figured out. I feel like that's another main point to this video, is you don't always have to have it all figured out. But yeah, anyways, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I chose the business route. I chose the business route personally for me because, we're just gonna address the elephant in the room. The society that we live in, the world that we live in, this capitalistic world that we live in here in America. I'm only speaking for, America and my reality. The job market as we know it is maybe not the best. Inflation is a thing. And all these sorts of things. So all these things are in my mind, and I'm asking myself, what type of program can I do for myself to allow me to live in this society? It wasn't more for me. My mindset was not passion. That's not what I kind of went into university for. And the reason for that being is because subconsciously I knew I didn't want to go to college. And I think that it's a natural thing for us to think we want to do. But for me personally, I didn't want to go. And at the time, I was kind of afraid to announce that, so I kind of just pushed it to the side, and I started to adjust of what I could do, even though I didn't want to go. I already made the decision, so now I'm living with that decision. I'm learning to navigate it. So yeah, I chose the business route. For me personally, it was just a way for me to understand businesses and see what type of knowledge and things that I can learn, so I can basically, like I said, navigate in the real world and also be able to have a variety of different careers that I can go down. Because I'm someone who really loves switching things up. I love changing things. I feel like once I not necessarily master something, but once I, learn something and then it takes the fun out of it, I like to move on type shit, if you feel what I'm saying. Like, I like to be hands-on. I like to learn new things. So once I feel like I'm done learning, I want to move on. And that's why I decided on a program that is more so would give me a variety of, different routes I can take. Because I don't want to just be stuck at something, So that's kind of a gist. I will say that there was a part of me that still knew who I was. I probably didn't know certain parts of myself yet, but there was a part of me who did. And, with college, there's this idea of a college life. And we kind of go into our college, our university, expecting it to look a certain way, and it will probably not be that. So another thing I want to say is just getting rid of expectations as a whole would be some of my advice. For me personally, like I stated before, in high school, I was on top of my shit. And in college, I was that same way. But now this was like kind of a new look and outlook of the freedom that I now have. And I was responsible for myself. So with that, of course, there's going to be temptations to do things, good or bad. And some of those things I wanted to experience for myself. I will say I have never really been the party type, but I went to one party so I could get the experience, and it was a reminder of why I personally do not like it. Now, if you like going to parties, you have your own reasoning for liking to go. 100% fine. I mean, personally, it wasn't for me, and I am a person who tries my best to learn from others' mistakes, but I am a firm believer. I don't really like saying the word believe, like to say no, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but I'm a firm believer in, you won't really know something until you experience it for yourself. So for me personally, I didn't really have like distractions when it came to like the party side of college. I would say my main, just honestly speaking, my main distraction was relationships. I feel like once I came to college, like I said, it was a new wave of freedom for me. So it was like, wow, I'm meeting so many different people. I'm making these different connections with people. Some connections I feel closer to or deeper to than others. And some of those people are people that I am attracted to. So of course I'm going to try to naturally pursue those things. Even if it wasn't intentional, I would still get in situations where I kind of was pursuing someone, and it would distract me because I would put my main focus on this person instead of my purpose for coming to college. And my mind would get clouded. I would get emotional. It was just, I wasn't prioritizing what I came there for. And I'm not saying that getting in a relationship with someone or pursuing someone is bad. I think it's a beautiful thing. I love love in all forms. But it becomes detrimental when you stop your life for them. And I will honestly say that is kind of what I was doing for a consistent amount of time, honestly. And, you know, it took me a long time to realize that I was my own problem because I didn't realize how to balance the two. But with that, I also learned how to give myself grace in that area, because I took time to learn myself, and I feel like college is a great opportunity for you to just learn yourself, connect with yourself, especially for a lot of us. It's our first time being on our own, so we are releasing those expectations that we have from others. We're releasing it. And now we have this new form of freedom, and we don't know what to do with it. So sometimes we act out of emotions. Sometimes we act out of greed. Sometimes we act out of temptation. And that's natural. We're human. That's okay. But if you want to change, or you feel it within you that something's not right, it's okay to take a step back and analyze and ask yourself, why do I want these things? So I did a lot of that in college, and sometimes I didn't get the answers for months on end. The second year in, I did not get all the answers at once. This is literally all over my whole college experience. I was learning these answers for myself. So that's another thing of advice I would say is learn how to give yourself grace. Because guess what? The world is not going to give you grace. Your professors are not going to give you grace. Heavy on the professors. They do not care. You may get one or two professors who see you as human, but I guarantee you, most of them will see you as just a student, because most of their students only see the professors as professors. And that's another thing. Learning and accepting that you can learn from anything or anyone. There is no one better than you, and there is no one who is less than you. Adopt that mindset, because sometimes we can find ourselves thinking that we know it all, or thinking that we don't know enough, and we're scared to step into something, to learn something new. Always remember that, because when you remember that you can learn from anything or anyone, now you're open. You're open, and with that open mindset, you learn how to talk to individuals. When I say individuals, and not just people, because everyone has their own way of communication. And there's different forms of communication. There's nonverbal, there's verbal, telepathic. But there's different ways to communicate with different individuals. When it comes to your professors, you have to really be attentive in your class to understand who your professor is. Build a relationship with them. It doesn't have to be a super close relationship. It's a relationship that will benefit you, but also remembers that this person is human too. That is another way of how I succeeded my way through college. There was classes where I didn't understand none of the content, but I built a relationship with my professor. It's not, you hear people who they be saying like a teacher's pet. Nothing like that. We're not people pleasers over here. That's another thing. Learning not to be a people pleaser. There's so many things, but just creating that relationship and setting yourself up so you can move on from a class you may be struggling in. And also, there was classes where I felt like I already knew the content. And with those classes, sometimes I would not show up. But I wouldn't just not show up and not communicate. If you're not going to show up to a class, at least communicate it in some form. It doesn't matter what the communication is, communicate that. It really goes a long way. It goes a long way. And I'm going to just leave that at that. But yeah, just learning different communication styles and actually practicing it. And remember, this is something that you'll learn over time as well in your own experience, whatever that may look like. And you know, just as you're watching this video, always remember that these are my experiences. Take what resonates when it resonates with you. So that's one thing. Also, just building back off to what I was saying is learning yourself. Be authentic. It's okay to not want to do what everyone else wants to do. Do not gaslight yourself and tell yourself, I want to do this, or maybe I should try this, if that is not what you want to do. And I'm not going to say it again. That is so important. Focus on your own journey. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. Focus on your own. Do what feels right to you on your journey, and remember your purpose. Remain authentic. You don't always have to over-explain yourself. If you're explaining yourself to create a connection between you and someone else, you and some friends that you met or something like that, that's okay. But you know when you want to explain yourself and when you don't. If you don't want to go get drunk at 2 a.m. in the morning and you know you have an exam at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., and you know yourself, you know that it's hard to get out of bed, you know you don't want to do it, but you still do it. And then you do it anyway. Now you're dealing with the repercussions of waking up groggy. That is going to affect how you perform in your class, on your exam, and it's just going to carry on. And you don't want to create that in habit. You want to learn how to create habits that are going to be beneficial to you and habits that you know you can handle the repercussions of. That's another thing, just learning yourself, learning what routines work for you. You know, there's going to be people who wake up at 6 a.m. and they go to the gym. After they go to the gym, they cook themselves a nice breakfast. After they cook themselves a nice breakfast, they head to their classes. After their classes, they go to work. After they go to work, maybe they're going to like practice or a Bible study or whatever it may be. There's people like that. There's also other people who don't work out, but they show up to their classes, they get their homework done. They spend a lot of time with their friends and repeat. That works for them. You need to learn what works for you. And there's only so much advice you can take. You can listen to this video and take my advice, but there's only so much advice you can take, because at the end of the day, it's about trusting yourself and knowing what is right for you. And you know, you don't have to be discouraged because, you know, your experience doesn't look like the majority. It's your experience for a reason, so embrace your own experience and be grateful for the experience that you are able to be in. That's another thing. Sometimes I felt like I would definitely get caught up in feeling like, dang, I'm not having that much fun. Dang, I'm not going to parties. Dang, I do not have a stable relationship. And I don't know about y'all, but in my college, there's people getting married. There was people already married. And it's like, dang, why can't I have that romantic love story? No, don't compare. Don't compare, because we don't know what it is like to live their life and walk their walk. All you know is yours. So you have to decide how to make it better for yourself. Just always remember to be grateful. Just have that gratitude. I feel like I say the word gratitude in every single video of mine, but that's just how important I believe that gratitude is. I feel like this is one of the last things I'm going to touch on. When you're learning yourself, you're getting rid of who you thought you were. I came into university as an athlete ball player. That's who I was. So even when I came to my university, there was leagues that I could join to play basketball, to do the sports that I like to do. I was still doing that. I was having fun. I met a lot of great individuals. It was good. Overall, I would say it was good. But then there was a moment where I was like, I'm not feeling as fulfilled as I used to. And I wasn't understanding that it was affecting my relationships with people on my basketball team. It was affecting how I played in my basketball game. And at first, I just didn't know. Like, honestly, I didn't know. And honestly, some of this stuff that I learned was probably after I graduated. But I just didn't know. So I made the decision to stop. I made this decision to stop playing basketball. That in itself was scary. Really scary. But I trusted that I could get out that moment. And I feel like that's kind of what a lot of colleges sometimes we're let down. There's situations that are scary, or sometimes we're not doing the best in our class and we don't really know what we're going to do. Don't focus on what you're going to do. Just focus that you can trust to get yourself out of any situation, whatever that may be. And that kind of was for me. But at first, like with basketball, it was like, dang, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now with this free time? And for a long time, I would just, after classes, after the gym, after work, I would have free time and I would just soak in my room for hours on end until the next day and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat for months. And you know, honestly, it didn't feel the best most of the days, but I got through that. And during that time, I was learning myself. I didn't have all the answers overnight, but I got an answer. And it's learning yourself and finding other things to do and not just focusing on one. Life is really about balance, and that's really what I learned throughout college is balance and not having attachments to certain things. And with that, like with that unfulfilling moment I had when playing basketball and I finally made the decision to stop, I was able to learn, hey, I have interest in so many other things. I have interest in skating. When I was younger, I went skating, but like for birthday parties, you know, it wasn't like a thing that I did. But fortunately enough, I was able to meet someone who genuinely became a brother to me. He passed away, but he reintroduced me to the art of skating, and I fell in love. And now it's like I have a greater purpose to continue what I'm doing, you know. It makes me genuinely connected to him. But not only that, I found another hobby. I found something that I want to embrace. I found something that I could express my love of. And I would not have been able to do that if I did not feel that feeling of discomfort, of unknowing, or just unsatisfied with basketball. I would not, because I would not have explored those other opportunities. I would not have learned myself enough to understand other passions that I like. I have a hobby of thrifting, or just being able to understand different fashion, different cultures. I love getting to know new people, and I love getting to know new people because it allows me to get to know myself, and it releases expectations. Like if you love getting to know people, I used to solely say I was an introvert and I did not like people, but I realized it wasn't that. I just did not like having to over-explain myself to individuals. I didn't like people pleasing. I didn't like performing. But all those things, I realized I have kind of control over those things. And all these 3 things that I listed are my fault. So it's not that I don't like people, it's just I don't like who I was pretending to be around these people. And subconsciously, sometimes we don't even know that we're pretending, because honestly, in the moment, I didn't know. I wasn't being my authentic self in some moments, and that's okay. That's another thing, just giving yourself grace. But there's so many different people that you can meet, and they can introduce you to things that you didn't even know. Like, you have to be open to these things. You really do. Like, it's just such a beautiful thing to learn new ways of living the life you want to live to achieve your purpose. And, with, finding new hobbies that I resonate with, I realize that it's leading me to my purpose. Any hobby that I have, any passion that I have, is leading me to my purpose. And I may not know fully what my purpose is, but because of the things that we do in our day-to-day life, when you learn about yourself, I feel like that's you learning your purpose, learning to walk your walk. I would just kind of like sum up this video by saying college is an experience, and it is individual. It's an individual experience, even though we're sharing the experience with a lot of people. But no experience is 100% the same. And you have to remember that. You have to go into it with an open mind. You have to go into it remembering your life, not anyone else's, but yours. And, releasing those expectations, learn yourself, be open to learning from anything and everyone, and don't forget to enjoy. Everything doesn't always have to be so serious, and that's something I'm still learning to this day, is like everything doesn't have to be hella serious. It's okay to laugh a little bit. It's okay to break a leg. Alright, I'm sorry. But it's okay. Give yourself grace. Enjoy it, because it's not going to last forever. I believe that anyone can do anything if they put their mind to it. Literally. So college can seem like a scary thing, an experience you don't really know what to expect, but you have expectations. It can feel scary because you may not know the people at the university you're attending. It may be scary because you think the work is going to be harder. It may be scary because so many different things. But do not let fear stop you from learning and enjoying your own experience. You can do it. And reaching success, to me, is learning yourself and what works for you on your own walk. You have to ask yourself, what is success to you? Do you have to reach success, or is it already in you and you just need to apply it to your life? So yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I know it's kind of long overdue, but I just have to post when it feels right to post. And I try to walk what I talk. So I really need to really go through my experiences before, I share them with the world. So yeah, so much gratitude for you guys for tuning into my videos. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I wish y'all peace and love always. Peace.
At one point in the early years in Paris, when he was feeling extremely discouraged, he was just getting nowhere. And he went to see Picasso, and Picasso said, "Get in line, wait your turn. Just pretend you're waiting for the subway." It's inevitable that you will meet a failure, or two, or three, or four. At the same time, the art itself, the product of that obsession, that obsessive kind of way of working, is the paradigm for all that is free and spontaneous.